The future is really upon us, and one of the things that we grew up believing would happen besides rockets landing, on their behinds rather than like airplanes. One of the other things that we thought would happen would be robots. We thought we'd have, Hal and, uh, my friend Kit. I think that was what it was called, my mother the car. We thought that these things would happen really quite a lot sooner, but thanks to Elon, we're just about to enter into a universe where robots will be among us. And I've been reporting on this ever since the Elon Musk mission. That's over 2 years ago, and 2 years and a month on this show. And I believe that this show has had many, many, many breakthroughs. If you've been along for the entire ride, if you've been listening for 2 years, you know that we're one of the first channels to even talk about the robot, even to talk about what the possibilities were, what the capabilities were. And one of the advantages that I have over some of my competitors, my friends actually on the other channels, is that I owned a manufacturing facility for 29 years. My partner and I and some stockholders had a factory. We had over 100 employees in the factory, and we made plastic things. And in the course of doing that, 29 years, I kind of learned a little bit about how factories work, and I was quick. Didn't take me like 2 seconds to recognize the advantages that I would have had with Optimus in my factory. Recently, Gary Black asked me, he said, Randy, I'm just not 100% sure that we're going to be able to, see a large TAM. The TAM that Elon's talking about just seems too large. And I responded to Gary with a 10, the immediate 10 Optimi that I would have bought. Even if they were $100,000 each, I would have happily leased them or borrowed the money, the necessary money to get 10 Optimi out of my roughly probably 65 or 70 manufacturing, printing, and other employees. I could have replaced 10. Well, actually, that's not quite true. I would have replaced 30 with that 10. So we had 3 shifts almost year round, and so those 10 bots would have been able to work 3 shifts, and so I would have essentially wiped out 30 employees. Oh, no, no, there's more than that, because they would have done the jobs better and faster. Well, okay, let's get into it, because a while, Optimus will definitely be used first in factories, distribution centers, retail outlets, security jobs, probably some construction. That's what's going to happen initially. We've already discussed, just last week, I put out a video talking about how valuable Optimus will eventually be in the home, with huge long lists of the ways that Optimus will help families through, some unusual things that most people weren't thinking about, like being a coach or being a medic, being the best mother in the world in terms of knowing what to do when a child or when one of the adults is sick. Optimus has also a bunch of advantages. Now, this is something CERN Basher and I I think it was before I knew CERN, I actually met CERN and he started coming on my show. We independently, almost at exactly the same time, came up with a list of many, many, many more benefits for Optimus in the factory than what people have been thinking about. So, um, Optimus is already worth a lot of money to any factory, in particular if they have 4 shifts. If they have 3 shifts, okay, 2 shifts, not as good. 1 shift is still extremely valuable, but the more shifts you have, because Optimus, what? He can work 4 shifts. Well, so then that became the easy math to do. So if it replaces one employee whose total cost is $20 an hour, that's not very much today. And I'm talking $20 all in. So $20 counting Social Security, counting vacation, counting sick leave, counting, everything all in, is $20 an hour. And then that would be 4 shifts would be approximately 160,000 for the cost of that employee, or those 4 employees. So if the bot costs 200,000, let's say, over 5 years, I mean, 200,000, whatever it costs to get it, maybe it needs some replacement parts from time to time or some upgrades or whatever, and they cost money. Let's say it's $200,000 over 5 years, then the benefit to the company would be that's 4 times 160,000 is 800,000 minus the 2,000 that you purchased it for. You've got a $600,000 advantage to the company for a $20 an hour employee. Except that what CERN and I realized was that's not it. You see, because the bot doesn't have to stop for lunches, breaks, bathroom visits. So there's more added value. The company saves huge amounts on HR because you see, you don't have to hire the bot. You don't have to motivate the bot. You don't have to review the bot. There are no pay increases for the bot, and there's likely less management oversight. You don't have a supervisor over every 5 or over every 10 bots. Now, some people argued with me about that maybe you would need supervisors early on. My guess is you won't need them for very, very long at all. You'll show them how to do the work, or you will give them videos of how to do the work, or they will come from the factory already knowing how to do the work. You will put them in their position. They will do the work immediately, and they will never have to be, nobody's going to have to come up and go, oh, if you only, move this over just a little bit, you could do it faster. They will actually, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Number 4, the bot is never late. It's never sick, never quits, never drinks or does drugs on the job, doesn't steal, doesn't harass others, doesn't get involved in sexual escapades on the job, doesn't go find a quiet place to nap instead of working. Now, by the way, when CERN and I did these lists, by the way, there's going to be way more new stuff. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. I'm going to be giving you new stuff that nobody's ever talked about before. But anyway, we talked about these in detail about, it's really important that you can count on them showing up, that they're never going to go to work for the competition. I didn't put that down on the list. I had 2 employees over the years go to work for the competition. One of those almost did result in the business having to close, but we figured out a way. Number 5, the bot is extremely versatile. It comes with an extremely large knowledge base of basic skills far beyond the average worker. And after you train it to do a skill or any task, anything that you needed to do in your factory, all of the other bots under your employee will be updated to be able to do that same skill completely interchangeably. No difference. That guy is got his arm having to be repaired today. Well, bring that guy over. He can do guy, gal, whatever they are. We definitely, they're humanoids. I mean, you have this feeling like you need to, call them by a pronoun. Optimus will not shirk or slow down, number 6 says. Will not shirk, will not slow down operations. Every bot will be a 100% performer. None will have to be retrained. None will be less capable in terms of productivity. In fact, they will all be top performers. They will probably be better performers than your top performer now. So right now, in any factory, in any distribution center, wherever you have multiple employees do the same task, you'll always have one, or if you got 10 doing a certain task, you'll have 1 outstanding or maybe 2 outstanding performers. You'll have 6 or 7 mediocre performers, and you'll have 2 lousy performers that just can never keep up, and they're always talking instead of working, or always going to the bathroom. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever had employees. All right, like I said, there's new stuff. Nobody, as far as I know, nobody has ever talked about this stuff before. You can let me know, maybe somebody has, but this is what we try to do on this channel. If you're going to believe that I'm inventive, then I have to invent from time to time. So here I am. I'm going to invent. I'm going to provide you with some additional things, some additional benefits in the factory that I don't think have ever been published before. So this is Randy Kirk, by the way. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notify, do all that stuff. Later on tonight, we'll have the regular Monday morning show that is on Sunday night, where we give you a look into the week ahead in terms of what's going to be happening with reports that are coming in from the federal government, et cetera, that will help us to make decisions as we, go down the road of buying and selling stocks. Then later tonight, I am probably going to do a late show on Sunday, a 7:45 show on Monday, Sunday rather, which I've not been doing recently, but I think I will. And that is if I can come up with an idea. Do you have any ideas? Suggest them in the comments below. What would you like me to talk about tonight on that late show? I've got all day watching football to write the script, so let me know. All right. By the way, thank you, Paul W., for joining Patreon. Yes, All right, there we go. That's two now in the last couple of weeks. I need more before the beginning of the year. We need more people to join Patreon. So go on down below. It's an easy click like that. You go over, you join, you help support the channel. All right, here we go. The new stuff. All right, you ready? Optimus is ambidextrous. So if the job requires some kind of work to be done from the left side as opposed to the right side, you don't have to move equipment around or do anything new, no problem. So it can do any kind of, just as well with this left hand as it does with its right hand. All right, that's very, very cool. But then it also has the same strength in both hands and the same strength in both arms, which of course we humans rarely do. I did have a friend of mine who was ambidextrous. Actually, one of my best friends in high school was our high school quarterback, and he was ambidextrous, and he could throw with either the right or the left hand. That made it very confusing for the defenses. Optimus has way more peripheral vision than you and I do. I'm not 100% sure yet whether there's going to be a camera in the back of its head, or whether, so that it'll be able to see 100% like 360 degrees, or whether there'll be side cameras that will give it that same 360-degree capability, but it will have way more peripheral vision than we do. It will have more greater vision in terms of being able to see a long way. It'll be able to read, words from a greater distance. It'll be able, maybe be able to see things on other spectrums if that's necessary. That might be able to be something that it can do. It'll be able to tell color down to the fraction of an inch if it's doing quality control. So the eyes will be substantially better in so many different ways that it's going to help it to be able to be more effective on the job. It'll also, because it will have this 360 or almost 360-degree vision, it will be way more aware of the environment around it that might be a problem, things that might be going wrong or going right, or just needs to be aware of. Well, okay, here's number 3. Optimus will be able to multitask in the factory. So it can do a huge number of tasks. It won't be able to do 2 tasks. I mean, I have real trouble doing even 2 tasks at the same time. In fact, there are people who claim that no humans can truly multitask, that as soon as you start doing that second task, it takes away from your ability to do the first task. I'm not sure, but that's what's being claimed. But I'm going to look at the Optimus kind of like a drummer. My son is a drummer, and he can do one thing with his right hand, do something completely different with his left hand, do something else with his right foot, and do something else with his left foot. Piano players, my daughter and my other son are both piano players, and they can be doing things with those 2 hands and those 2 feet. I mean, it's just amazing. I can't. This is just, well, maybe I could if I started again when I was 4, but it's just not me. All the instruments I play are one finger, like trumpets and flutes. Well, there's 2 fingers on them. So I can do 2 things anyway. So the Optimus will be like that though. If you want him to, he could be doing, while he's on the line, assembling something with his left hand. If it only requires one hand to do it, he could be doing bookkeeping. He could be running a 10 key with his right hand, absolutely 100% at the same time without losing any skill sets. He could be doing something with his right foot. Maybe he needs to be pushing a pedal that makes a machine go up or down or sideways or whatever. And then with his left foot doing something entirely different. But that's not all. You see, its eyes could also be counting something, keeping track of something, even counting and then dividing by the number of minutes or hours or by the number of units of measure, who knows what, keeping track of something, checking gauges, watching the other employees around it to make sure they're doing their work and reporting that to some system. It could also be just overall doing about as many tasks as you'd want to give it at once, because it's not limited by this business of whatever's limiting us to make it hard for us to do more than one task at a time. Well, so you can imagine the amazing potential for that. Now, I'm suspecting that most companies will never get that far. They'll be so excited that it can do one task so well for 4 shifts. Of course, it can do quality control on the fly while doing the assembly, the weld, the packaging, the printing, whatever it's doing. Again, we were a print shop, so we were printing 30,000 bottles a day. And so the person who's doing the printing would do the print, would take a quick look at it, put it aside. But after you do that all day, you're not going to see some of the problems. And so what we would do is the bottle now goes on a dryer, and somebody at the other end is taking those off. And so that person is kind of responsible to make sure to pick up once in a while, pick one up and see if the print job is still good. Well, the bot, while it's doing the printing, it could pick up the bottle, look at it in plenty of time, completely examine it down to the millimeter, less than millimeter, tenth of it, who knows how small. And also to exact color, the design, make sure everything is working exactly as it should on every single product as it goes by. Whatever it is that needs to be quality controlled, it could be doing it on the fly. That eliminates that QC person and also improves the QC by a huge percentage. Well, of course, it has massive brain power, massive brain power. So it'll be able to come up with methods for doing the job that will speed it up, make it more efficient, make it cost less, make the job cost less. You see, the computer in its brain will have the entire World Wide Web and who knows what else in there, just like our computers do now and like the chip will in the future. So it will be able to say it's doing a particular job. I famously was working with blow molders. Well, the computer would be able to go into its brain and look at all of the other blow molders that are online, blow molders that are being shown on video, how they're working, what they're doing, what kind of additional equipment they might have added to them to make them more efficient, how they might be, how the downstream might be working better, or the upstream in terms of the raw materials coming in. In other words, it can just do a complete analysis every single day if it wants to. It takes you see how fast when you do something on Grok, how fast it comes up with all these answers. Well, it could be doing it every minute. It could be doing it 1,000 times a day, checking to see if there's a way to make that operation smarter and better. Well, it'll also be connected. So about the factories at Elon Musk factories are all interconnected by one giant computer system. So every car, as it's going through the process, is self-checking itself as it goes along, and then that information is being booted up into a mirror image, a second digital version, a digital twin. That's what it's called. It goes up and becomes a digital twin. I mean, all this stuff is all integrated and coordinated. Well, there's a lot of that in a lot of factories today, but nothing on the level of the Elon factories. But when you've got the bots in there, these bots will now be interconnected with all the other bots and with any other equipment in the system, any other computers in the system that you choose to, equipment to be connected to. That could be by Wi-Fi, by Bluetooth, by whatever method. So now, if I'm standing there and I'm making my bottles, I can let the downstream people know I've got a box of bottles coming or whatever. I've got 10 boxes that need to be taken away. I can let the upstream know that I'm running out of raw materials. I'm running out of color. I need more, raw materials or color or whatever to somebody come over and, load up my machine. I could let a mechanic know that I'm noticing that the gauges are, so all of that, I don't have to walk around the building and make that happen. That's just all going to be part of the giant computer. And those things will happen because the robot thought it, so to speak. Anyway, well, now let's say you want to add a new product. You're always going to have to need new products for your company, or maybe you want to make a change in a product. I have what I call the upside down, backwards, black, white. Anyway, how can I change the product? Very simply by making it upside down, making it backwards, making it black instead of white, white instead of black, or some other color. So you go through these lists. Well, Optimus will be the best member probably of your brainstorming team. No offense to you other inventors out there. it's probably going to be a better inventor than most of you, because most invention is interpolation or extrapolation. Most invention is iteration. Most invention is not like, oh my gosh, out of the blue, I've just got this amazing idea that is so different than anything that's ever been done before. So the bot will be able to do that kind of interpolative analysis, that kind of extrapolative, are those words? Knowledge on the fly. So easy. So sitting in the meeting and you're saying, well, what about this? What about that? And it goes into its brain. It looks at over all similar products. It looks over all similar processes. It looks, I mean, it can just go so broad and so wide to see about other possibilities and other ways that it might be used, your product might be used or changed or modified. So now after it's evaluated every aspect of that new addition or change, it will probably be able to, well, no, it will be able to make recommendations for improving the product for manufacturing. As Elon does, the bot is now being made, designed in to be manufactured first. The cars are designed to be manufactured like the unbox process. Well, the bot will be able to do that. It'll be able to say, oh, if you just change this a little bit, it will really work well with our existing manufacturing equipment. Or the opposite, it'll be able to say, this is a way better product if you make it this way. So now we need to change the manufacturing equipment, and here's the product you can buy, or here's the modification you can make the equipment we have now. Yeah. So other than that, I don't know what, could there be more? Could there be other things? Oh yeah, it could be giving you recommendations in terms of materials. So, our bottles were low density polyethylene. Some of the other companies were making them out of high density polyethylene. It would immediately be able to say, here's the benefits, the disadvantages, the advantages, and here's ways that you can potentially modify some of those materials in order to make them even better. I mean, just the list goes on. Well, anyway, maybe you're still wondering. Is anybody out there still wondering? Maybe you're curious. maybe you're lacking the imagination to see why there might be a huge demand for the bot at a commercial level. I've just outlined an employee that is probably worth $500,000 a year just for one shift. You probably pay a person that's that inventive and that creative and that capable, who could also do four shifts of work. It's probably $500,000 a year, maybe. So why would it replace a $20 an hour worker, a $40,000 a year employee? Because the savings go way crazier if you put it into tasks that are more valuable, just like it would be true for any employee. I was always trying to get my employees to go to the next level, become a supervisor, become a manager, go into sales, go into marketing, where you can be more valuable. Well, that bot already has those things, so you're going to want to use it where it's going to be most effective. Now, that's going to be in the beginning. So imagine the demand. Just imagine the TAM for companies that get it. Okay, if the company gets it, they're going to be bidding. To me, it's going to be a bidding war. The first million, the first 2 million, the first 3 million should really be for Optimus. I don't know what the rest of these foolish bots, but for Optimus, the way I've been watching it, if it has everything that I just talked about, there should be a bidding war. People, yeah, I'll give you 500,000 for that first one. I'll give you five. Yeah, I want to buy 100 of those for 500,000 each because they're worth it, maybe more. And so the bidding war, there's always a bidding war. That's what capitalism's all about. There's people that are willing to pay more, people that are not willing to pay as much, people that are willing to sell it for this or can only sell it for that because of the cost. But in this particular case, Scott Walter and I have done a lot of work on this, and we think the cost will eventually only be around $6,000 to make it, even with all of those things that it can do. So it costs $6,000, but Jensen Huang has got it right. If it only costs you $6,000 to make it, sell it for $100,000 if you can. Absolutely, all day long. And I believe that would be smart. And Elon has shown in the past that he understands that that's smart, because if you sell it for $12,000, which would be a fine margin, or you sell it for $30,000, which would be a fine margin, everybody would be happy with that margin. Then it's going to go to a reseller. That's who's going to be standing in line. It's going to be somebody who's going to say, well, I bought it for $30,000 because I got somebody over here who'll pay $100,000. So you don't want that. So you want the company to make as much of the money, as much of the profit as possible. All right. Clearly, I think I've made the case that for a company that can do 4 shifts, a company that is going to just be crazy not to find any way they can to get one of these bots. Now, a company that has 3 shifts, it'll have a smaller benefit. A company that has 1 shift, a smaller benefit. But if they use it like I just described, then they're going to get massive benefit. And then if I'm a company that only has 1 shift and I get one of these bots, if I'm fortunate enough in the early days to get one of these bots and I only have 1 shift, I'm going to find a way to use it for 4 shifts. That's right. If I'm a factory or a distribution center, even a retailer, I mean, okay, what do retailers do at night? I mean, retailers, you think, oh, how many shifts do they have? Um, okay, fast food stores, 3 to 4 shifts. Retail, big retailers, they have 3 to 4 shifts. Why? Well, they have to unload the trucks at night, break down the containers, take the retailable, level packaging, take that from the back end into the front end, put it on the shelves, rearrange and stock the shelves and make them pretty for the next day, clean the floors, et cetera, et cetera. There's constant action at major retailers. Now, smaller retailers may not have that, although I've encouraged my retailers over the years, if they have some kind of a service business, do the service early. Anyway, I could go on and on and on. I think I've made the case. The TAM for these bots will be unlimited. Elon says we will have 3 per person. So if we have 8 billion now or 9 billion humans in the world, so he's thinking that the ultimate TAM is 20 billion, 27 billion, whatever of these bots, 1 per person for home use, and then 2 in the factories or in the fields or in the building houses or whatever. So a total of 3. Do you realize that if every bot maker in the world started to make bots as fast as they can, how long it would take to even get to the first billion of these things? So for those who are wondering whether somehow, and we did some polling on this, whether somehow Elon could get up to, say, 10 million bots per year by 2030, if Elon, let me suggest, I'm going to suggest this to you. If Elon decides that he wants to make 10 million Optimi by 2030, he will make 10 million Optimi by 2030. Would anybody question that right now? I know that some of the other bot makers have told people in interviews, they've said, look, we can 10 times it every year. So if we make 1,000 next year, we can make 10. So let's take 1,000 in 2025. That would be 10,000 in 2026. That'd be 100,000 in 2027, 1 million in 2028, 10 million in 2029. There you go. All right. Now going from 10 million to 100 million, for one factory, for one company, that might be getting to be a stretch. But up until then, I can see this 10 times thing working. But Elon has said he's planning to make more than 1,000 next year. So if he makes 3,000 and you 10 times that, that would be 300,000 the next year. That'd be 3 million the year after. So yeah, I don't think that this is, let me know in the comments, what is it? What's the limiting factor? What is the thing that you think is going to keep Elon Musk, from being able to make these things in huge quantities very, very quickly? And where do you think the limiting aspect is in terms of selling these to excited manufacturers, distributors, retailers, construction people, etc.? This is Randy Kirk. Again, please like, subscribe, and notify. Be reminded of upcoming videos later today, the Monday morning show, as well as, I don't know what I'm going to do tonight, but it'll be fun. And then last night, I did lots of videos yesterday. What did I do? They were really good. But the one last night, nobody paid any attention to it. It was on, what was it on? It was on something really, really good. So because nobody paid any attention to it and I can't remember what it was, I'm going to put that card up so that you can go back and watch it, because it didn't get enough views. And I'm sure it was valuable. So I'm suggesting you check it out. All right, that's all I got for you right now. It has been great, as always, talking to you.